stand?
Assuming position.
Join with me in salute to our flag and country. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing for our prayer, Pastor.
God of heaven and earth, we thank you for your grace. We thank you for your goodness. May your face continually shine upon us so your ways may be known in our city. We praise you, God, and may all the people praise you. Then our land will yield its harvest, and you, Lord, will bless us. We commit to you the land, homes, city, and our labor. May you look with favor on our community, protect our citizens and leaders, and enrich our land so that we may be a blessing to others. Guide this meeting with a spirit of unity. Give those present with wisdom and discernment as they make decisions. Give them strength to serve well in the roles you have entrusted to them. And we pray that you would be honored and lifted up in our city. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Call to order our Guthrie Public Works Authority meeting of January 16th. Second item on the agenda is public comments, community announcements, and recognitions. Kim, I don't think we have any. Third item on the agenda is the consent agenda, items A, B, and C. A is the approval of the Public Works Authority minutes of January 2nd. B is the approval of pay application number 33 to HCCCO for $224,597 for work completed on the wastewater treatment plant. And C is the approval of payment to Myers Engineering for invoice number 223042-7 for $1,150 for engineering services for the lift station number 4 rehabilitation project. I'll entertain a motion.
Could I ask a question real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
Just for clarity on item B, could we explain that a little bit, please? That's all I want, just an explanation. I'm not objecting to anything.
Without Tenny or Bill Myers here, I'm going to give you the best that I can give you. I'm going to assume this is a normal pay application as part of the previously approved contract for construction on the wastewater treatment plant. So,
Okay.
Is there something in specific?
No,
Okay.
that's all. I just wanted to explain. It's a lot of money, so I wanted to explain it.
Yes, sir. And these pay applications are coming back before you as a result of the issue we ran into when I first arrived. And so I don't need to recall that, just to tell you what you see on these pay applications, you've already approved in the contract amount. So
Okay.
it's just a courtesy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I believe we had a motion
Second.
and a second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes, please.
All votes for it.
See the votes. Unanimous approval from those present then to approve the consent agenda items A, B, and C. That being the only item, the last item on our Public Works. I adjourn our Public Works Authority meeting and I call to order our City Council meeting, January 16th. Second item is the consent agenda items A through D. A is the approval of the City Council minutes of January 2nd, 2024. B is the pay application, to approve pay application number 4 to Lambert Construction for the amount of $42,925. C is the approval of pay application number 5 to Lambert Construction for $54,715. And D is the approval of payment to Myers Engineering, invoice number 221169-5 for $5,978.58 for engineering services for Owen Field softball facility upgrade. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion, questions?
Is Highland Hall almost done, or is it done?
We're getting really close.
Okay.
So we still lack a little bit. If you'll recall, that project started as a complete renovation of the entire structure.
Right.
And was cut down to a bathroom renovation.
Right.
And so we run into some supply chain issues
Yeah, I kind of wondered
as
that's
well.
what, yeah.
So Jesse.
Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that.
Unfortunately, that has been the tune to every song we've sung for the last couple of years. So,
Unfortunately. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Submit your votes.
All votes for it.
Votes unanimous approval from those present then to approve the consent agenda items A, B, C, and D. Item number 3, capital improvement sales tax task force presentation. Chris, are you taking the lead on that, or Eddie?
Chris Evans, you're familiar with Chris Evans. Obviously, he's been the spokesperson for the CIP committee. At this point, I will share with you, the committee has worked hard. They have toured facilities. They've reviewed survey data, which you received in your packet. At this point, I turn it over to Chris.
Thank you, Eddie. And that's basically my speech you just gave you there. So, well done.
I did not see his speech.
Yeah, he did not. He did not. That's pretty good. We think alike. That's scary. Mayor, City Council members, once again, thank you for your time. I spoke to you last month on behalf of the committee and recommended an extension of the current CIP sales tax, which is set to expire in 7 years in 2031, and also with an April 2nd citywide election to allow qualified voters to make the ultimate decision. The committee has met multiple times since December, including taking trips to the municipal pool and the fire station. Public Works Director Tenny Maker guided our trip at the pool, while Chief Lawson and his fire crew showed us around the firehouse, and that was followed up with a very great Q&A session. In our January 3rd meeting, City Manager Eddie Faulkner reviewed data that citizens both inside and outside city limits shared with the city in a survey. If you recall, our committee found the items most crucial: water line valve replacement, second fire station, sewer line upgrades and replacement, Owen Field expansion and completion, ADA accessibility, and Highland Park pool. With nearly 600 surveys calculated, Guthrie citizens are almost 100% in agreement with the committee. Citizens said their top priority is water line and water valve upgrades, followed closely by sewer line upgrades and replacement, which we believe is a great thing. A second fire station was voted third overall as a priority by citizens. Next was the expansion and completion of Owens Field Sports Complex, ADA downtown projects, and round out the list was a cost-effective Highland Park pool. Another important question on the survey asked citizens if they would support a 10-year or a 15-year extension of the current CIP sales tax. Again, not an increase, but an extension. Overwhelmingly, citizens both in and out of city limits said they would support a 15-year increase of the current tax. 87.5% of the citizens would support that lived inside city limits, and 88% of the citizens who filled out the survey outside of city limits said they would support the 15-year extension. With the extension of the CIP sales tax, not only will this tremendously begin to benefit Guthrie and its infrastructure, but at the same time hedge against inflation. The task force committee is respectfully recommending to the council a 15-year extension on the current CIP sales tax to address critical needs and place this option to all eligible voters within the Guthrie city limits on April 2nd ballot. Thank you for your time, service, and I'll be glad to answer any questions on behalf of the task force.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You guys put in a lot of time on this.
It's been good. Yeah, absolutely.
What was the, I don't know how much you can tell us, but what was the aura in the room on the pool meeting?
What was the question?
What was the atmosphere like, and what was said and during the meeting for the pool?
Of course, the pool is the reason why a big part of the reason why this committee was put together. After all the information that staff has given us and all the tours and that stuff, a pool has always been a vital part of Guthrie. But we have learned that the infrastructure is very, very important moving forward. People always wanting clean water and sewer, sanitary, stay away from, keep those upgrades moving, because without that, you can't even have a pool. So
Sure.
That quickly moved up to the level, but it's not that the pool doesn't mean anything, because we've had a lot of talks with it and we've gone to visit. But if there was options for a pool, it would want to be a cost-effective pool. I know we've had estimates around $5 million up to the big daddy of a $10 million pool, and the committee doesn't see that at this current time, but not to ignore it either, and maybe have a scaled-down type of a pool with the possibility of expanding on it in the future. Kind of like Charter Oak Elementary School was built with the future of adding on to it later down the road. So that's one way. That's why we had mentioned a cost-effective pool. I don't know what that number is, $1 million, $1.5 million with future upgrade
Right.
down the line. But
Okay.
we ranked it number 6 in our list, and the citizens who had the same type of information put that number 6 on their list as well. The only difference between the committee and the citizens was the committee had the fire station at number 2 and sewer lines at number 3, where the citizens had the sewer lines at number 2 and the citizens, or the fire department at number 3, excuse me.
So
That's the
just,
only difference.
just to add on to that, Chris, so we've taken that data, the CIP committee has visited, and they got to go out last week when it was really cold and see the pool. And so they got the same spiel. Yeah, exactly. They got the same spiel that everybody on this council received in the fall. So the next 2 steps, the things staff is currently working on now, one is an RFP to work on cost estimating. So what these projects are going to cost us prior to going to a vote of the people. We need to know and be firm that we can complete this project. And that's what we came to the table with in the beginning. If we're going to seek an extension of any kind, we need to be able to look at the voters and say, we can do this project, we have a firm cost, we know that this is what we can design, build, and turn over to the community, excuse me, for this amount of money. And so when we took those 6 projects, the goal was to touch each area that the city functions in, right? So emergency services, infrastructure, quality of life. And while we will never, in any of our lifetime, be able to complete $90 million worth of infrastructure, every year, every project chips away at the brick, right? So it's one bite of the elephant at a time. And a 15-year extension of the tax looks like a possibility of $15 million. Well, you know as well as I do, whatever these cost estimates are on these projects, it's going to greatly impact the future of what project we can do and how much we can do. So the committee is looking at that, and they're going to ask what they've asked to do in exchange for supporting this tax, this extension, is to transition into an oversight committee. So something this council has expressed from the very beginning is that looking at the neighboring communities, the things that are so successful, is the oversight. And so I think going forward, what you'll see is a committee meeting. They're evaluating expenditures. They're giving a report to the council that adds a layer of advisory and protection to this tax, and hopefully will make it as successful as we've seen 20 minutes down the road to the south. So the committee's working hard. We're going to get some cost estimates and then come back to the council and say, okay, for $1 million pool, this is what we can build. For a $2 million fire station, this is what we can build. And then you'll have all the data with a recommendation from the oversight committee then to move forward. But at this point, this is where we are in the process.
And if I can add to it real quick, the committee went out and visited that pool. Of course, there's no water in it when the council went and took it. And one of the biggest things the committee took from it was the pool was huge. And obviously, they couldn't get over the size of it. Moving forward, I don't think we would never need something that huge of the size of a pool. And also, with the possibility of a second fire station, committee members learned that not only is it quicker routes to Charter Oak School or to Coyle or to the highway, but also for folks who live in Ward 2 out by the lake, how it can affect their insurance, having a station closer with their ISO rating. I live in town, which our ISO rating's a 2, which is a big compliment to our fire department. That's not the same for the folks out near the lake who have a higher ISO. So that's something that also the committee learned about a second fire station, not only for quicker response times, but for insurance folks who have different ratings than I do.
Chris, I remember I got the email from Justin with the questions.
Yes.
How many were there? Do you remember? Was it
10 questions, I
The
think?
questions in the survey?
I think so.
Yeah.
So there was a variety of questions. The 13th question was general feedback. 2 questions, one, a 10-year extension, the second, a 15-year extension. There was a question for each project on a ranking on a 1 to 5 scale for the project individually. And then there was a final question that took all of the projects into account and said, rank these by priority level.
Yeah, because I read some of the comments and I noticed roads would pop up in there. I'm just shocked, and I'm not like advocating anything, I'm just talking out loud. I'm just shocked that roads didn't make it in the final. Usually,
Sure.
through my experience talking with people in the community, and when I ran, roads would always would be number 2 or.
Keep
would
in
always
mind.
Pop in there.
Keep in mind, the CIP tax is geared towards capital improvement projects, and we can only, obviously, it's not our only funding source, right?
Sure.
So we do have a road project that's coming up really soon in partnership with ODOT. So we do have those projects that will utilize other funding sources. But for the CIP specifically, what we can touch in the infrastructure, for example, with the water situation, the water towers. Something that folks don't realize is the lack of the paint or the rust on the water towers is a quality issue. It's a safety issue. It's not just I want to go paint a pretty water tower. Well, that's your first thought. It's an optic. That's not the case. And so when we look at that, we have to gauge those projects with the most bang for the buck.
Sure.
Kind of where I'm headed with that.
Yeah, I think, Chris, clearly in my mind anyway, the reflection of the citizen vote in prioritization, falling almost exactly in line with the committee, I think is a huge plus and pat on the back that you are representing the committee, or the community extremely well. And so salute you for that, you and the committee members.
Appreciate that.
I think that's really, really pretty significant. The other thing, do you or the committee members have anything that you took away from the open-ended question, the last question where people could make a lot of comments? I was really happy
Yes.
to see people taking the time to make a lot of comments in that section, because most of the time when you have an open-ended one, you either get no words or a volume, and we get a lot of responses.
Yeah,
I think
6
that's
pages.
fantastic. Was there any takeaways there that you would like to share with us?
No, I'm kind of excited that the community is behind the water line and the sewer line projects, because that's something that has gone on for decades upon decades.
Well, and see, like the last time we did the sales tax, what we couldn't do was stuff like this, because people would have said no, and now it's their suggestion.
Yeah, and I think,
So it's really cool.
yeah,
Well,
I
like
think
that, too.
city staff's done a good job of explaining what water lines look like. This is what a 30-year-old line looks like with all the crusty stuff inside of it. And
And that's what they
honestly,
drink.
people are upset with, this happens, I remind everybody, this happens in every community. Guthrie is not special to brown water or odor, but it's something that you just can't ignore. And our crew's always working to make the best of what we have, but to help them out, we need to help them with better lines.
Did anything surprise you?
That everyone's in line with the committee. I was like, this is awesome. It was, and those comments were super positive. You know, there's some great things in there that we can learn from them. But overall, I think Guthrie is excited about this possibility of moving forward with infrastructure. Not, you know, the bright shiny stuff that we really want, but stuff that's underground that no one sees.
Good point.
Mayor, if I could add
Yes, sir.
to that
Eddie?
question, when you ask, what feedback did you take from the 6 pages? There's one thing that was apparent to me as a staff member, and that's the transparency and what we're doing with the tax and the projects is vital to the success going forward. And even more specifically, I'll just say, there were multiple comments that we'll wait and see how the new city manager does. And honestly, I appreciate the candor, because that's good to know. The community's watching, and I do not take that responsibility lightly. So I want to say publicly tonight, I'm honored to have the opportunity and the trust to move forward with this project, these projects. I don't take it lightly, and I look forward to the future, not only with the council, but the oversight committee. And the fact that the survey results were so close to that of the committee is a testament to the city council. Because if you'll recall, you appointed each of those committee members. So if that's not a testament that the city council knows the community, I don't think there's a better way to gauge it. But I will say, staff understands the opportunities ahead, and we also know that we've got some mountains to climb, and I wouldn't want to do it with any other team. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions of Chris? Well, again, on behalf of the council and the city staff, Chris, thank you for your leadership in this committee and each of the members. Obviously, they spent a significant amount of time and have committed to spend more.
Right, correct.
As you move into the next step, which is oversight. And I think that's significant, as Eddie has identified.
Yeah, we're going to do everything we can to let the citizens know what the committee has learned through this process as well. So with education and pictures and all that stuff. So we'll continue that.
Okay, very good. Well, again, thank you very much. Item number 5.
Chris, you are gonna publish something on this on Guthrie News page, right?
Thinking about, no, yes.
Sorry, Steve.
Yeah. Check in Guthrie News page, you're gonna get an update.
Yeah.
Item number 5, consider and take action with respect,
Number 4.
I'm sorry, number 4. Discussion, possible action transitioning the capital improvement sales tax task force to an oversight committee effective April 3rd, 2024, and shall remain in place for the duration of the levy with one appointment from each city council member.
So moved.
Second.
So, but real quick, Chris, you guys have discussed that, I take it, right? Because I know we mentioned that in the past.
Yes,
And everybody's all on board with being on the oversight?
I haven't pulled up everybody, but yeah, I think the ones I've talked to for sure on this specific thing, yes.
And if not, you've left it open with one appointment from each council member at the end.
You'll let us know if certain individuals aren't.
Well,
Ideally,
I would also think that the member that each one of us appointed, if he or she is concerned about the continuation.
Yeah, they would get with
Get
it.
back with us.
Exactly.
And so, I'm sure that line of communication is open between all of
Yeah.
us and the person that we nominated. So, either way, but anyway, this is a nomination for the committee to move into the next step again as an oversight committee.
But that oversight committee is a long-term committee. Extremely long-term.
So it may change, the makeup of it may change. a little.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they can always, they can make,
Sure.
they can come in and say, hey, we need to appoint somebody else in
Yeah.
that position.
Okay? Yeah?
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion.
There's been a
You already
motion
got one.
made and
Oh, I'm
seconded.
sorry.
Got it.
I'd like to add an amendment to the motion, such that it shall say that one appointment from each ward, from each council member to run concurrent with that council member's term, so that if I leave, my successor isn't stuck with somebody who doesn't represent.
Well, why don't we just make it ward instead, and that way it
Because if you
carries
have,
with the
then you'd
ward.
only have one from each ward.
Huh?
No, he's trying to get it to where it follows the councilman.
The council members' terms.
Okay, okay.
So that each council member, when they come on, will have the ability to appoint. If I leave, I don't want whoever's my successor stuck with, yeah, I'm not stuck with.
So-
it.
Who made the motion?
Jim did.
I did.
When is the next turnover? Next turnover is next year on council, right? Not this year, next.
Right, right. Jim, you accept
I'll
that
amend
amendment?
my motion. Read that again as it should be amended, Grant.
The capital improvement sales tax force shall transition to an oversight committee effective April 3rd, 2024, and shall remain in place for the duration of the levy with one appointment from each council member to run concurrent with that council member's term.
So,
can I ask for
Discussing that.
amendment to that?
Okay.
Can that be effective if the current panel, if anybody who's on the current panel were to step down or leave? Since they're sort of the inaugural
that's what I was doing.
team,
Just leave them there if they want to stay, is that what you're saying?
Well,
I think that's,
they're the ones that are,
You're talking about a 15-year period here. I mean, like, I
sure,
mean,
sure.
I don't want successive council members, yeah, I mean, I would like the community.
That's a good point.
Right, and
And
it
they
changes
might
with,
not like my appointment.
right, with the council, and it should reflect, I think, those changes. To leave somebody on there for, first of all, so to ask somebody to serve for 15 years is.
Yeah, it feels like we're doing
And
Supreme
enormous
Court
work.
judges or something.
Huh?
I feel like this is Supreme Court judges or something,
Right,
like
yeah, I
they
mean,
put in for.
I just think that they should run concurrent with the council
I
members.
agree with Grant.
There's no limit on the term? No limit?
no, because if you got a council
Why don't we
members in
just- why
another
don't we just
dozen
change
years,
it
that's,
to With one appointment from each current council member.
but realize it's only
Doesn't that say the
oversight.
Same thing?
It's only an oversight committee
It's not a
anyway.
committee.
Are there other committees and boards that are similar to what you're
Well, they have
proposing?
staggered terms usually. I mean,
Yeah.
most of the boards are comprised of various members who are appointed by the mayor.
Correct.
When I suggested that we appoint one from each council member, it was to ensure that there was a diversity of political representation among the geographic areas. And I'm just saying that if I leave in 4 years or whatever, you know, whoever replaces me should have the ability to make that appointment.
Also
I agree.
replaces-
And realize that's what I'm saying, realizing it's only not only that it is an oversight committee and council has the last, whoever's sitting
Right,
here,
right,
saying whatever it is anyway. So,
I still like Grant's.
yeah, I don't have a problem.
Amendments.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think should be an issue with it.
And just,
Because the council has the final anyway.
and it just ensures that if there is a change in council member,
Right. They would have the
that
ability.
the new person coming in has the ability
To
to
appoint
make
Either
a
leave that
change.
person in or change it.
And there is a
Make a
board
change.
out there, I believe, where council members have appointed people
Yeah.
in the past.
88.
Yeah, the ADA.
Yeah. Okay? You
As
accept,
amended.
you accept that,
As
Jim?
amended, yeah.
Okay, and who made the second? You made the second?
Yeah.
Do you accept that amendment?
Yep.
Any other discussion? Submit your votes, please.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval, then to transition to the task force, to an oversight task force with the amendment as identified that would reflect the current term and tenor of the city council member. Item number 5, consider and take action with respect to resolution number 2024-1, authorizing the calling and holding of an election in the city of Guthrie, state of Oklahoma, for purposes of submitting to the registered qualified electors of the city the question of approval or rejection of the ordinance of the city, which amends ordinance number 3277 by extending the termination date for the collection of excise tax, sales tax levied pursuant to said ordinance and containing other provisions thereto or relating thereto. That was made by an attorney, I am sure. But anyway, this is basically extending the sales tax as identified. But we have both a resolution and an ordinance that need to be amended.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Submit your votes.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval then to change resolution number 2024-01, approve resolution 2024-1, authorizing the calling and holding of an election for purposes of extending the sales tax. Item number 6, consider and take action with respect to ordinance number 34-05, the city of Guthrie, amending ordinance number 3277 by extending the June 30th, 2031 termination date for the collection of sales tax levied pursuant to said ordinance, provided for the effective date, providing the remainder of the ordinance remains unchanged, providing that the provisions of the ordinance are cumulative, and in addition to any and all taxing provisions of other city ordinances, providing for severability of provisions and containing other provisions related thereto.
Eddie, did you chat GPT this?
I'll give a shout out to our bond counsel.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was all one sentence.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Take a breath.
basically, it is, again, changing the ordinance to reflect the extension of the sales tax for the time as recommended by the Oversight Committee.
You want to say it again?
Can you read,
Can you read all that again?
No,
It just extends it to June of 46, correct?
correct.
All right. So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes.
All votes are in.
Good job.
Let's see the votes.
Gives Eddie a big wide
Unanimous approval to change ordinance number 3405 to amend ordinance number 3277, extending the sales tax by 15 years to,
I think we're on item 7, aren't we?
We are now,
Yes,
because
yes.
we've already done that. He's just rereading it, I think.
I've read far enough.
City manager
We have
report.
officially now extended the sales tax as recommended by the committee and now approved by the city council. Item number,
Well, we haven't extended it.
You've
We've
called for an
agreed to a
election.
vote for an election.
yes, I'm sorry, we,
To send it to a vote.
thank you. Yeah, submitted to go to a vote to extend. Item number 7, city manager report.
Yes, Mayor and Council, it's been a busy couple of weeks, as you know. First, I want to give a shout out to the Public Works Department. They've worked pretty tirelessly over the weekend with the winter weather, starting with a few water leaks, which is, you know, we don't want to break tradition. Anytime there's cold weather, there's going to be a water leak somewhere. And that tradition rang true, even today. The guys were working on water leaks. And a specific project I want to applaud them on. If you'll recall, Harrison and Division was closed last week. They were inserting an inserter valve onto the 10-inch water main that we've been working to replace. Got that inserter valve in place. We were able to kill the line and even had asphalt back in the hole Friday evening before they went home. So
That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I was
drove by
impressed
myself.
too.
So I saw it one day and the next day it was done.
the next day it was done.
And in that weather,
Yeah,
amazing.
Appreciate it.
amazing.
Well done.
Kenny, wherever you are,
Yeah, well
I'm
done.
sure he's watching. It will have to be opened one more time to make the final connection. But I do want to say the crews have been working pretty hard to get things done, and that should not be overlooked. Congresswoman Stephanie Bice made a visit to Guthrie over the last 2 weeks. Want to thank Councilman Jeff Taylor, Mayor Gentling, Vice Mayor Aguirre for stepping in during that visit. Congresswoman Bice is supportive and is looking for ways to help fund some infrastructure improvements, as well as other improvements out and about in the city. So you will see some community project funding requests in the form of resolutions within the next 2 meetings, which will go before the Congress, U.S. Congress, for the next funding bill. So they haven't approved this current fiscal year's funding bill yet, but they're getting ready to start on fiscal year 25. Staff's been busy, of course, with the CIP task force. In addition to that, also working with Department of Commerce, the Oklahoma Film Office, and OG&E, all on grant options and opportunities. We continue to push ahead on industrial site development, of course, of the 80 acres out off of College. Glenn Crabtree's retirement party last week went off without a hitch. Many of you guys were there. Thank you for coming out. Mayor Gentling, Vice Mayor Aguirre, as well as Caden Young, and honestly, the entire team. Everybody came together to help Caden get that event ready. And I didn't see one person leave without helping clean up. And I think that speaks a testament to the team, and I appreciate that. So many folks were in attendance. I would say there was well over 100 folks, probably close to 200 people. And that's huge. Of course, we were celebrating, half a century of service to one place, which is huge, but to get that many people on a Friday afternoon with, possible weather issues, I think that's awesome. It's a good note when we talk about our airport, the folks who were touched by the airport who may never get in the plane. So it's another note for us to keep in the hat. We did hold a ribbon cutting for the new FBO at the same time. And we currently have 2 RFPs out, which are running concurrently with the CIP task force. One is for marketing services for the upcoming sales tax election. It's important for me to note that any marketing services that the city pays for will be informational only, okay? So it's not a vote yes, it's not a vote no campaign. It is purely to get out the word about the vote. Speaking of votes, Oklahoma Natural Gas, the franchise agreement was approved with over 79% voter approval rating in the city of Guthrie. So if you'll recall, last Tuesday we had some surprise winter weather. We weren't prepared for winter weather that Tuesday. Kind of snuck up on us overnight. Had a low turnout at the polls. Again, still had a 79% approval rating, which is good for the partnership. Last thing I'll mention, the Owen Field Plan Review Committee. So keep in mind, it's very similar to the oversight committee that this council just created. Owen Field Committee is also headed by Chris Evans, has changed a few times. They'll meet for the first time in the last couple of years at the end of this month. And the purpose for that is to take a look at the 90% design plans. And we're really pushing to get a groundbreaking of some kind very soon. I don't want to give you a timeline until we know for sure, but we're pushing really hard to get that out there. I can't help the fact that we've been held up by the federal government and other agencies on that grant award. We're obviously very thankful for that award, but the community needs to know that we're moving on these projects, so we're going to do our best to tell the story and get it out there. For that is all I have for you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions? Okay. All right. Item number 8 is comments by members of City Council. Vice Mayor Ianieri.
I just want to thank the task force for all of their work and ask them to please continue to talk to people in the community and connect with people on social media to get positive word out about the capital improvements that we'll be conducting and hopefully using to change people's lives here and the quality of life in the city of Guthrie. It's really important that task force, I think, continue to be vital and to be active in the community. I know, Chris, that you will do that. I know that most of the members that I've talked to, I think, are pretty excited about it, and so I think that's going to be a big help in keeping things moving and the ball rolling along and showing to the citizens that we are good stewards of the money that we ask them to give us. So that's it for me.
Okay. Councilman Ropp?
Same. I'd like to thank everybody who took the time to volunteer for those task force. Dan will attest to the fact that it's really hard to get people to volunteer. So thank you to everyone who stepped up and put their time into that. Got a little warmer today. I think it went to 13, 25. Oh, did it? Okay, yeah.
Did we go 25?
Got hot out there
We did
today.
22.
Yeah. So stay warm, everyone. That's all I have.
Councilman Bothroyd?
Yeah, first, apologize for being late. Thanks to the whole task force, because I know you guys, you don't have to do that, and I appreciate it, really. Check on your elderly people that you know and the seniors. That's actually where I was. Not everybody knows that their pipes froze, and that happened this afternoon where I went. And, it's not their fault. They, some people don't realize that you're supposed to run all of your faucets, and not just the kitchen faucet. Just check on the elderly and the seniors in your lives, because sometimes, they don't have it in them to reach out to you because they think they can maybe handle it on their own and might need help. So, that's it.
Councilman Taylor?
Wow. Okay. Thank you, staff. I know that a lot of guys put in a little bit of overtime, probably a whole bunch of overtime. I appreciate the street deal on Harrison. That was great. Come into town, they were working. I thought, they'll have this done tonight. Come back through the next day, it was blacktop. I thought, wow. So I was really impressed. So, and thank you, Chris. I think you've done good on both these, and I think you'll do outstanding staying with them. So all y'all's hard work's great.
Councilman Case?
It's really cold out there, be careful.
Yep.
What Ron said about the elderly, that's pretty important because they don't think about this stuff, and it does happen, and they think, well, I called him last time, so I'm not gonna call him this time.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's pretty important. But, Chris, the committee has done a spectacular job, they really have. And they did what we want to do, but, you know, we look at things a little bit differently than you do. So it's nice to have, that kind of support from the community, especially the individuals that we've got on there right now. So, I think we do have a tremendously good group of people working on that stuff. So, and you come back with some really good suggestions. So, anyway, keep up the good work. I hope you can make it 15 years. That's all I've got to say.
He'll be on council before then. He'll be appointing someone.
Councilman Williams?
Just to agree with all the praises already given to the task force and Public Works and saying we're moving forward in a good direction. I'm proud of the city.
You know, we oftentimes take a lot of things for granted. And when we have inclement weather, and we have a water break, all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh. You know, the street maintenance people, getting out there and working in cold weather, water flowing all over the place. I've got a little pipe at the house that's been freezing and thawing and freezing and thawing, and a little spray going off. I can't imagine when you're dealing with water pipe
6-inch
line.
line or
That's
12-inch
a
line.
6-10-inch line. But
bigger
thanks,
squirt.
and thanks to the police and the fire department for keeping us safe. When, you know, we get a little dusting of snow, and I think sometimes people don't realize that it can be very, very challenging when you get a lot of traffic over it. All of a sudden, that little snow becomes ice. Again, street maintenance, fire department, police department, keeping us all safe in that environment. So greatly appreciate your efforts, and again, kudos to the task force for what they've done. And as always, thank you, Pastor, for bringing us warm weather tomorrow. With that, ladies.
Are you?
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.
I've asked for it.